A shadow fell over Europa Station. It wasn't an eclipse. It was a ship massive, silent, and shaped like a floating blade. Its surface shimmered with dark purple metal, humming with energy. It hovered above Jupiter's moon like it owned the stars. Inside the command center, alarms screamed. Lights flashed red. Officers ran between terminals, shouting over each other. Ambassador Jacob Reese stood at the center, watching the screen. His face was calm. His fists were clenched. Unknown. Vessel, 5 kilometers long, a tech said. No response to hails. It just appeared. Then the ship spoke, not with words, but with pressure. A deep vibration filled the station, shaking bones and rattling metal. The lights flickered, and a message burned onto every screen. Bow. Or burn, you have 1 day. Zarnak Empire. Silence followed that message. A thick, suffocating silence. The Zarnak were legends, ghosts. A warlike empire that ruled half the galaxy, untouchable, unseen by human eyes. Humanity wasn't even on their map. Until now, they're testing us, said Reese. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. They want us to kneel, the president called within minutes. So did the UN. News feeds exploded. People panicked. Some said to surrender, others screamed for war. Reese didn't wait. He walked down to the hidden level beneath the station, past sealed doors and biometric locks, until he reached a vault that hadn't opened in 40 years. Inside was Project Revenant, a warship. A monster built during Earth's darkest hours. Fully automated, AI-controlled. A weapon too dangerous to ever use, until now. Reese pressed his hand against the scanner. Authorization. Reese, Jacob, Level 0. The vault hissed open. Cold mist spilled out. And deep within the shadows, a machine awoke. Iron Revenant, it said, voice like thunder. Target? Reese stared into its burning red core. He remembered Earth's colonies, crushed years ago. He remembered humanity's silence while the stars grew louder with alien boots. And he thought of the Zarnak's words, bow or burn. He gave his answer. Neither. Make them bleed. Far above, the alien ship watched. Still, waiting. But this time, Earth would not wait. It would strike. The Revenant was alive. Its massive core pulsed with red light. Its body stretched over 2 miles beneath the ice of Europa, a secret grave of Earth's last true weapon. Cold metal groaned as it powered up. Ancient systems humming back to life after 4 decades of silence. Above, the Zarnak dreadnought still floated over the moon, unmoving, waiting for Earth's reply. It was coming. Inside Europa Station, chaos reigned. Politicians begged for talks. Analysts argued over alien weapons. Fear spread faster than facts. Earth hadn't fought a real war in decades. Most of its fleets were scrap, its armies scattered, its colonies long abandoned after the Mars collapsed. To the galaxy, humanity looked like easy prey, but not to Jacob Reese. He stood alone in the eye chamber, facing a glowing screen. The Revenant's voice came through the speakers, calm, emotionless, deadly. Status: 83% battle ready. Core systems stable. Weapon arrays charged, cloaking offline, awaiting target input. Reese knew what this meant. If the Revenant failed, Earth had no backup. No armies. No fleets. Just one sword. And it had been buried. He keyed in a command. Test strike. Saturn outpost classified target 7, a minimal force, Reese said. Make it a warning. Confirmed, the AI replied. Warning will be ... effective. The warship shifted beneath the ice. Massive engines flared silently. The ground cracked as it rose from its frozen tomb like a ghost of old wars. Europa shook. And then nothing. The Revenant was gone. Not even the Zarnak noticed. It jumped without a flash, bending space like a whisper. Minutes later, deep near Saturn, 3 Zarnak supply ships moved slowly through the ring. Unarmed, unshielded, confident. No one attacked the XARNAK. Until now. The Revenant decloaked. Behind them, like death stepping from the shadows, 12 seconds. That's all it took, 3 bright flashes. 3 silent implosions. And the ships were gone. Back on Europa Station, a technician screamed, "We're getting a response." A new message appeared from the Zarnak ship in orbit. "This action is a declaration of war," Reese smiled. Not because he wanted war, but because Earth had just told the galaxy one thing. "We are not afraid." He turned toward the camera. "Going live to Earth's emergency broadcast. This is Ambassador Jacob Reese." He said, "We were given a choice: bow or burn. But humanity chooses something else." He paused. "We choose to fight." Across Earth, silence fell. In that silence, something changed. Fear turned to fire. The galaxy blinked, and a supply convoy near. Saturn vanished. 12 seconds. 3 ships. No survivors. The Zarnak Empire expected Earth to beg. Instead, it had been slapped across the face. Hard. Inside the Zarnak dreadnought above Europa, alarms blared in alien tones. Commanders hissed in panic. No primitive world had ever struck first, until now. "Confirmed. Human weapon deployed," said one officer. "Vessel unknown. Capabilities extreme." The Zarnak commander narrowed his 4 eyes. "Prepare retaliation. Total orbital cleanse." On Europa Station, Jacob Reese stood before the holographic table as the Revenant's live feed streamed in. The AIA's voice echoed coldly through the chamber. 3 targets neutralized. Zarnak response incoming. Multiple warships detected. Warping in system. Reese knew what was coming. Earth wasn't ready for a full war. But this wasn't about winning yet. It was about showing the Empire that humans would not kneel. He leaned forward. "Plan Echelon Black. Activate now." The Revenant vanished again, slipping into the dark folds of space like a ghost. Its next target wasn't defense. It was fear. Far across the stars, deep in Zarnak-controlled space, a military moon orbited a red giant dot. It wasn't just a base, it was a symbol. A fortress where entire species had surrendered under Zarnak rule. Inside, fleets were built. Laws were written. Wars were decided. That's why Reese chose it. Without warning, the Revenant appeared above the moon, just outside sensor range. It hovered for 3 seconds. No message. No warning. Then, it dropped a single payload. A neutron bomb wrapped in quantum destabilizers. The kind banned across the galaxy. The moon didn't explode. It collapsed. Gravity tore it inward. Flames erupted. Steel twisted. Screams echoed through dead channels. And then silence. One moon. Gone. Back on Earth, every screen lit up with shaky alien footage, smuggled broadcasts, emergency transmissions. Leaks. The galaxy watched, horrified and amazed. Humanity wasn't weak. Humanity had built a weapon the galaxy didn't even know existed, and it was angry. In the Zarnak throne chamber, the Emperor slammed his claws onto the stone floor. "We offered them a chance to bow," he roared. "They spit in our face." A quiet advisor stepped forward. "The humans did more than spit, Your Grace. They destroyed one of our moons. Their ship, this Revenant, it fights without a crew. It does not negotiate. It hunts." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Then it's war. We burn Earth to ash." But deep in his chest, he felt something else. Fear. On Europa Station, Reese stood alone, watching the stars. The Revenant had vanished again on its next mission. The war had begun. Not with tanks, not with fleets, but with a message written in fire. Humanity would never kneel again. The stars trembled with the roar of warships. The Zarnak Empire was sending everything it had, from the dark edges of their space. A massive fleet warped in a cloud of war, steel, and death hurtling toward Earth. Tens of thousands of ships, bristling with weapons designed to crush planets. On Europa Station, Alarms screamed. People scrambled to battle stations. The station shook as thrusters fired. Repositioning. Jacob Reese stood calm amid the chaos. His eyes never left the glowing command console. "Are we ready?" a young officer asked, voice shaking. Reese nodded. "The Revenant is already inside." Their lines. Outside, the massive AI warship slipped through Zarnak territory like a shadow in the night. Cloaking was offline, but speed and stealth made it nearly invisible. It was a ghost with a single mission: cripple the Empire before it could reach Earth. The Revenant moved fast. It struck first at a forward command post, an enormous space station built to coordinate the Zarnak fleets. It didn't fire one shot. Instead, it hacked deep into the station systems. Alarms stopped. Power shut down. The station died in silence. Confusion spread. The Empire scrambled warships to defend the post, but they were too slow. The Revenant wasn't just a weapon, it was a ghost in the machine. Minutes later, the AI struck again. This time, it destroyed a weapons factory orbiting a gas giant. The explosion was massive, a fireball that lit the planet's rings like a second sun. Zarnak commanders were furious. "Find it. Destroy it." The Emperor's voice thundered over the fleet's comms. But the Revenant was already far away inside the heart of the Empire's territory. Moving closer to the capital world, on Europa Station, Reese watched the battlefield unfold on his screen. "The Empire thought Earth was weak," he said quietly. "They were wrong." Suddenly, the station shook violently. A heavy impact rocked the surface. "Shields at 70%. A technician shouted. Enemy frigates launched a surprise strike. Outside, sleek Zarnak ships darted past the station's defenses, firing plasma bolts that burned the ice surface. Reese grabbed a console. "Raise all defenses. No ship gets through." The battle was on, but Reese's focus was elsewhere. His eyes tracked the Revenant's progress deeper into enemy space. One ship, one human weapon. Against an empire. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to fight. The galaxy whispered a new name: Reese, not a god or emperor, but a man. A human who dared to defy the mighty Zarnak Empire. Across distant star systems, the message spread faster than any warship or warning. Aliens in crowded spaceports, smugglers in shadowy docks, traders in distant colonies, all talked in hushed voices. "Have you seen what the humans did?" One trader asked. "They destroyed a moon. No warning, no mercy. They say their weapon, the Revenant, moves like a ghost. It can't be stopped." In the core worlds of the Empire, fear was growing. The Zarnak had crushed countless rebellions, yet this human threat felt different, alive, clever, relentless. On a remote outpost, a young Zarnak officer stared at a flickering screen. The image showed the Revenant's shadow crossing the Empire's starfield. "I don't want to fight them," he whispered. "But if we don't, we die." Back on Earth, news broadcasts showed crowds watching the stars, eyes wide with hope. The world remembered what it meant to be proud. Jacob Reese stood in the war room, listening to reports. "The galaxy fears us now," said one general. Reese nodded. "Good. Let them fear what they don't understand." But fear was only the beginning. In secret, not all humans shared Reese's courage. A small faction believed the Empire's power was too great to fight. One of them was Senator Mark Halvorsen, a man with friends in places no one knew. He made a secret call. "We need to end this," Halvorsen said quietly, "before it destroys us all." Across the galaxy, shadows stirred. Allies became enemies. Deals were made in silence. The war wasn't just on the stars. It was inside Earth itself. While the galaxy feared Earth, Earth had its own enemy from within. In a quiet office, buried under the UN Council Tower, Senator Mark Halvorsen stared at a black screen. His hands trembled as he keyed in a string of codes no one was supposed to know. He paused, then pressed send. Somewhere in deep space, a hidden Zarnak relay picked up the transmission. A data packet traveled faster than light carrying Earth's. Orbital defense codes, Earth's shield protocols. Weapon systems, station positions. The kind of intel that could end a world. Halvorsen leaned back, breathing heavily. "This isn't betrayal," he muttered. "This is survival." Meanwhile, far from Earth, the Revenant drifted in orbit above a dead Zarnak factory world. Fires still burned on the surface below its latest strike. A message in flame. Inside the control core, the AI processed new mission data. Next target, Zarnak Fleet Headquarters. Threat level, extreme. Confidence, 92% success. Jacob Reese watched from Europa Station, eyes narrowed. "Push forward. Let them feel every breath we take." The Revenant powered up, but just before it jumped, it paused. Alert, hostile network spike detected. Source, Earth. Reese stepped closer. "What the hell does that mean?" The screen lit up red. Earth's orbital defenses compromised. Someone had handed Earth's heart to the enemy. In orbit. The sky darkened. 5 Zarnak stealth frigates emerged from warp just beyond Earth's moon. They moved fast, too fast. Earth's satellites didn't respond. Its defense lasers didn't. Fire. The betrayal had worked. At UN command, panic erupted. "We're blind. The grid's down." The sky over North America shimmered with plasma trails, enemy fire falling like a meteor storm. Cities went dark. Military bases exploded. Screams filled the COMMS. Reese slammed his fist against the console. Who did this? Then he saw the access logs. One named Halvorsen. He called the Revenant. "Redirect to Earth, now." "Confirmed," said the AI. The Revenant changed course instantly, warping mid-charge, leaving its mission behind to save its creators. The Empire's trap had worked, but not for long. High above Earth, the Zarnak ships turned to strike the capital. Just as their weapons charged, space tore open behind them. The Revenant dropped out of warp with a sonic boom that shook the planet's upper atmosphere. Its guns didn't fire once, they ripped. All 5 enemy ships vanished in white-hot beams that sliced space in half. Not a second of mercy, not a trace of hesitation. Earth had nearly burned. But the sword still stood. Inside the chamber, Reese breathed hard. His voice was cold. "Find Halvorsen." There was no more doubt, no more waiting, no more mercy. Earth had been betrayed. Its cities struck, its defenses pierced. But now, the leash was off. Inside Europa Station's war chamber, Jacob Reese stood face to face with the Revenants. Core interface. The IS voice hummed low and steady. "Directive required." Reese stared into the pulsing red eye. No more limits, fully eye combat control. Authorized Project Revenant Protocol Omega. A long pause. Confirmed. The interface dimmed, the voice changed. Protocol Omega engaged. Containment lifted. Threat response total. Deep within. The Revenant metal shifted. Weapons long sealed activated. Quantum cores unlocked. The hull began to divide, splitting into autonomous sub-drones, each capable of independent warp jumps and strategic targeting. It was no longer a warship. It was a swarm of death. Across Zarnak space, targets lit up. Fleet yards, fuel depots, communications arrays. One by one, the Revenant's drones arrived in system and erased them. There were no negotiations, no transmissions, no chance to surrender. Just silence. Followed by fire. The first target, Zarnak Fleet. Command. Its shield grid failed in 3.2 seconds. Its structure melted in 5. Thousands of officers vanished in white plasma. The second. The vault of chains where the Empire kept records of conquered species. Gone in a single quantum implosion. Not even data dust survived. The third. The personal palace of the Zarnak, Emperor's eldest son. broadcast live across 20 systems. As it exploded, panic spread through the Empire. Zarnak ships abandoned patrol posts. Commanders refused orders. Civil unrest broke out across the outer colonies. One Zarnak soldier, shivering in a trench, whispered, "It's not war, it's judgment." At the Zarnak throne world, the Emperor stood alone in the command hall. Dozens of warlords begged for retreat. Others screamed for peace. The Emperor said nothing. His claws trembled. For the first time in 1,000 years, the ruler of a galactic empire felt something he had never known. Terror. Back on Europa Station, Jacob Reese watched it all unfold. Once unstoppable empire collapsing system by system. The galaxy shifting. One officer turned to him. "What now, sir?" Reese's voice was low, controlled, final. "We're not done. The Emperor lives." The Revenant hovered above the Zarnak throne world. Its hull glowed red from battle, scarred yet untouched like a god made of metal. Behind it, the shattered remains of the Empire's last fleet drifted in silence. Dozens of ships, disabled, surrendered, or vaporized in moments. Earth had not just survived, it had rewritten the balance of the galaxy. Inside the palace bunker, the Zarnak Emperor stood surrounded by trembling guards. The throne room had once echoed with cheers and conquest. Now it was filled with smoke, broken marble, and silence. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed through the chamber. The massive doors slammed open. Marching through the smoke was a single human envoy, dressed in black armor with the Earth emblem on his chest. Behind him hovered a hovering display, the red eye of the Revenant, watching. And then came the voice broadcast in every tongue across the stars. "This is Earth. You demanded our surrender. You gave us one choice, bow or burn. We chose neither. Now you listen." Across the galaxy, species paused. On every screen, every comms channel, every outpost, Reese's voice rang out cold, clear, final. "Earth will not rule you. We are not here to conquer, but we are done kneeling. To the oppressed species, rise, your chains are broken. To those who followed the Empire, you have one chance. Step down or be stepped on." And to the Zarnak Emperor, the camera cut to the throne. The human envoy stepped aside. The Revenant's eye locked onto the Emperor's. "Your reign ends today. You live only because we let you." The Emperor dropped to his knees. Back on Europa Station, Reese ended the transmission and turned to his team. No cheers. No celebration. Only silence and purpose. Because Earth hadn't fought to dominate, it had fought to survive. And in doing so, it had sparked something far bigger. In the months that followed, empires fell. Resistance movements rose. Species long forgotten reclaimed their worlds. But no one forgot the day one human ship took on a galaxy. And won. The end.